Now that we have validated the Python application, let's try to containerize the Python application using Docker, then deploying it in a public repository like Docker Hub, and then proceed with the Kyma deployments. Before we proceed further, I would suggest you to refer the prerequisite time for SAP Kyma and Docker. You should have created a Docker Hub ID and also have downloaded the Docker desktop depending upon your OS version. The steps are mentioned in the prerequisite. Please follow the steps. Assuming you have created the account and also downloaded the desktop version, you should be able to sign into your Docker desktop using the Docker Hub ID. Now, if there were any images you have deployed, you should see it, else they should be blank. Let's go back to the code. Previously, we have used the Jupyter Notebook to validate it. Now, what you can do is either you can clone it to your local desktop or download it. If you have Python environment set up in your local desktop and you have installed pip, you should be able to clone it. If not, you can download the file as a zip and then extract it and have it in a separate folder. Once you have it in the folder, you can remove the notebook file. It's not needed. So it should look like this. You should have the main Python application, the Docker file, and the deployment layer. Now you can use the command prompt and navigate to your folder where all the files were extracted. So the first step, what we are going to do is we are going to containerize the application, and then it's going to build an image for the same. So the command to use is docker build, and since you are there already in the folder, you can use dot, and the tag is your Docker Hub ID, which is in my case SAP Kyma, and your preferred image name. I'm giving it as QResponse2. So it's going to build with all the dependencies that's required. And all the dependencies you have already mentioned in the Docker file, so it will use that and build it. So let's go and build the image. So if you see here, it has completed the build. It has completed all the steps and it has completed and built the dependency. So these were the dependencies which I have mentioned, and it has built the file and the image, sorry. And if you go into your Docker ID, you should be able to see the new image QResponse2. Now the next step is we have to push the image to public repository. So I'm going to push the same image name what we had, QResponse2. And now what will happen is this should be available in your Docker Hub account. It should be pushed as a public repository. It will take a few seconds. And now it is completed. So if you go back into your Docker Hub, maybe you can refresh. You should be able to see the image available in the public repository. Now with this, we should be able to deploy it in SAP Kyma.